All right, before we get into the live training that you've signed up for, I wanted to cover a topic that's on a lot of people's mind right now, which is cryptocurrency, and specifically cryptocurrency versus e-commerce, because e-commerce is what we're going to be talking a lot about on the live training. But I want to make sure that, with this hot topic everyone's talking about, you understand our thoughts on how that compares to this business model. As of the time I'm recording this video, Bitcoin has just dropped about 50% from its high. Now, who knows what's going to happen? Maybe by the time you're watching this, it'll be even further down. Maybe it'll be back up to where it was. I don't really know. And that's the big uncertainty about this entire space of cryptocurrency, is nobody really knows where it's going to go. There's been crazy price increase over the past year or so. And so it's very different than e-commerce, which has been on a predictable single direction path for about 20 years. Because people fundamentally are buying more and more stuff online. Cryptocurrency may end up being extremely important down the road. Once again, I don't really know. It's an interesting technology. I don't claim to be an expert in that space. All I know is from the position of speculating on it to make money versus building an e-commerce business, I would choose building an e-commerce business hands down. Because a lot of times when people say, oh, I'm investing in Bitcoin, what they really mean is they're just speculating on price. They're sitting there, they're buying at one price, hoping that it ends up going up and hoping that they can end up making some money, which is very different than investing, which is, you're building something more for the long term, not just hoping that the price increases. Speculation at the end of the day is kind of wired into us. For some reason, this is why everyone loves to go to Vegas, everyone loves to gamble. We have this gambling instinct sort of wired into us, which is what everyone who's sort of playing off this, and why a lot of people have dumped so much money into cryptocurrency, just because they've seen everyone else doing it and they think they can make quick money. I've heard some interesting things. Wall Street Journal put out an article that said Bitcoin users have misplaced about 20% of all existing tokens, and it's unlikely that the majority of those will ever be returned, which is absolutely crazy. And that just gives you a tiny example of how new this space is and why I would not be putting a substantial amount of my own personal money and banking my entire financial future on that asset class. Also, there's been a ton of fraud. FTC reported that cryptocurrency fraud is the most costly type of fraud for Americans in their 20s and 30s. All the reason I'm saying this stuff, like I said, I don't know the future of this. Maybe it'll end up being great down the road. Maybe it'll be a great thing that'll kind of revolutionize our financial industry. All I know right now is that it's not something I would be putting money on if I was interested in building long-term wealth, which is everything that we're going to be talking about on the live training, is how do you build consistent, stable, long-term wealth? Because at the end of the day, the goal is complete financial freedom. You have a business that's making you money, building wealth for you, that's not dependent on a job. And the number one business I would get into with that criteria in mind, long-term business, long-term wealth generation, some business that can run for you 24/7, is e-commerce. First reason is sustainability. People are always going to need products for their lives. If you look around your house or your home office right now, think about all the stuff that surrounds you. That's stuff that helps make your life easier, make your life more fun. Some of it may be completely necessary in your life. Those kind of needs are always going to exist. And so there's always going to be a need for physical products. And also, we just don't want to go back to shopping in brick and mortar stores. Sure, people buy some stuff. Apple stores are always packed like crazy. But in general, it's way more convenient to buy stuff online. So these two massive trends are in favor of doing e-commerce versus something that's very speculative, such as cryptocurrency, where we just don't know. So if you're interested in building consistent, predictable, long-term wealth, I would choose e-commerce hands down. Second reason is cash flow. At the end of the day, ideally, you build an asset that's generating cash flow for you and is not just dependent on appreciation. Because if you build a business that, say, makes $10,000 a month for you, then you have that money you can rely on either to reinvest in your business or fuel your lifestyle. On the other hand, if you buy an asset such as Bitcoin or anything else, and you're completely dependent on appreciation, then at some point, if you want to take money out of that, you've got to start selling some, and then you start having to incur taxes for that, and also you're taking away from your principal balance, which means that asset is getting smaller and smaller and smaller for you, and eventually it's just going to disappear. Versus ideally, you build a cash-producing asset where the principal value of the asset keeps increasing while your cash value is also increasing. So the value of the thing that contributes to your wealth is going up, while also the amount of money you're able to put in your pocket every single month is also going up, which is why we love the value of e-commerce related to cash flow. Third main reason actually higher returns in e-commerce versus cryptocurrency, which may sound crazy because we've seen the crazy price appreciation. Bitcoin, as of the time I'm recording this, is up about 5 times in the last 2 years, which is crazy. That's a huge increase. If you put $5,000 into Bitcoin back then, it'd be worth about $25,000 now, which is great. I mean, that's a very high appreciation, more than you would get in the S&P 500 and almost any other sort of investment. However, we have students who have started with $5,000 or less in their businesses, and in just 2 or 3 years, we're able to sell that business for millions of dollars. That return absolutely dwarfs the 5 times price increase in Bitcoin. Something to keep in mind, because the returns can seem crazy when you're comparing to other standard investments, but we believe there's a massive asymmetric risk and reward, which basically means there's very small risk for huge reward inside of e-commerce or building almost any business, but especially an e-commerce business, because the startup costs are so low. Now, there are a few counter arguments. I'm not completely blind to sort of the benefits of investing in cryptocurrency or specifically Bitcoin. They may be mainstream later. You may be buying something that could be worth thousands times more later. There is that possibility. We don't really know. If I was banking on that, I'd rather be in the business of providing some fundamental service in there than just speculating on the currency. That is a possibility. We don't really know what's going to happen with that. Also, second counter argument is that, if you just buy Bitcoin, you don't have to do any work. You just buy and wait and hope that it increases in price. Versus a business, you actually have to do the business, do some work, grow your product, do the marketing, all the stuff we're going to show you in the live training. However, if you talk to anybody, you may have been in this position yourself. If you talk to anybody who's put in a sizable amount into a cryptocurrency such as Bitcoin, they're not exactly just sitting around doing nothing. They're not able to just be like, okay, I bought this thing and I'm just gonna not think about it for 5 years. They're stressing out day and night, watching the price go up and down and up and up and up and down, and getting super excited when it goes up and getting nearly depressed when it goes down. And so it's not like you're doing nothing, because it's taking a huge amount of your focus away. Very, 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 very small percentage of people are able to do something like that and just sit in and just sort of forget it for years on end. So I wouldn't consider that zero work anyways, unless it is, even if it's just sort of mental work that you're doing and taking away focus from doing something that may be more productive. So at the end of the day, it's a very exciting space with cryptocurrency. It's cool technology. Don't really know where it's going to go. But for the purposes of you being able to become financially free, to leave a job, to be able to work anywhere you want, to be able to provide for your family, to be able to provide for other people that you care about, for retirement, to have a business you can pass on to kids, I would hands down choose e-commerce, specifically the kind of business that we're going to show you how to build on the live training. So hopefully this clears up this possibly confusing topic for you a little bit. We can't wait to see you on the training. We're going to show you how to build an entire e-commerce business, leveraging the power of Amazon from scratch. Relatively small amount of startup capital. The potential rewards and opportunity right now are absolutely huge. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the live training.